welcome to Starting Lineup. Thank you for starting your day the KUAM way. Of course, our Monday show, morning meeting in the KUAM conference room. Jason Salas, Carmen Victoria Terlai, Nestor Lecanto, Sabrina Salas Manzanati.
Wait, we're forgetting somebody or something.
What?
We have a guest today.
We do.
Koku is here.
Okay.
I've been waiting all morning to do that.
For the birds.
Yeah, exactly. Can you tell I worked all weekend?
It's going to be one of those weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There's definitely a lot going on for a Monday.
It was a busy weekend too. We were
Very
all
busy
over the place, you
weekend.
guys.
Congratulations to Chris and Bree on the fire.
Oh, yeah.
muster. Wow.
Fire muster, that was
I could
great.
probably get through first 3 minutes and then
Yeah.
it's done.
Okay, now the thing is, we were actually there at the firefighter muster competition. So first of all, thanks to all the firefighters who
Yes.
had us there, because I mean, you know, we do this. I mean, it's funny, it's challenging. Those guys are real life heroes. They do this kind of stuff every single day.
It's true.
But we gave people, like, we actually had to sequester a lot of the footage that we shot. We've got so much stuff we can show you guys, which is inspiring, scary. How sore are you today, Bree?
I'm a little bit better than I was yesterday. Yesterday I was pretty sore.
Yeah, okay, and you guys both ran the course. That's coming up on In the Mix this
Right.
week. That is
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
But you know, just to clarify,
Yes.
we did the course, but we weren't wearing the full gear like
Right.
the firefighters do.
Right
when
on.
they actually
Yeah.
compete. But it was still difficult, at
It's
least
pretty
for
tough.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys actually want to see exactly what the course is like, if you guys want to get a teaser for that, you can check out our YouTube channel right now, because the firefighters were nice enough. Jonathan Castro, thank you. Super cool guy, super gracious. He actually did the course like 3 or 4 times with us,
Right.
and even did like a test run for us, and that course is no joke.
I want to do the firefighter cooking muster.
Nice.
Because everyone says the firefighters are really good cooks. Like that part, I think I could
Really?
handle, but the actual muster, the saving lives part, maybe not so much.
And that was all the fire companies and everything. Like, we're talking federal, airport, Navy, Air Force, and GFD. Everybody was together. They were
Right.
so
I think I
positive.
got a really a much better appreciation of what those guys, the physicality of their jobs. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. What was the hardest part?
Carrying the dummy,
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
you couldn't do it.
25 pounds.
225-pound dummy,
And that's last. That's
Yeah.
after you've, you know.
and it's dead weight.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't helping at all. He's just laying there like you want to live? Give me a hand here.
Yeah, imagine like 9,000 of these all at once, and you're like,
Yeah, it was tough.
yeah.
Mine was the hammer time, the hitting that
Right on.
100
Isn't it
pound.
like 100?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was 100 pounds. They had to modify.
That rubber hammer is pretty heavy too. That's what, a 35-pound hammer.
But you'll see it in the video when we roll it out.
I think the hardest part was by the time you get to the hammer, you've like held on to so many things and you don't really notice that you're blowing your grip. So by the time I got there, like I could barely hold the hammer.
Yeah. But of course, before that, we were up at Ukuru that morning.
Special
We
Olympics.
were.
Yeah. Oh man, talk about inspiring
Special
and
Olympics.
so much fun. How was
It
that your
was
first
so
Special
fun.
Olympics?
No. I've been to Special Olympics. I mean, even when I was in high school, we would go every single year with my National Honor Society. So Special Olympics is something I hold really, really close to my heart, because those kids are just amazing. You know, nothing gets them down, and they have all of this energy and love to give, and they're just so excited to be out there, to be throwing. We manned the softball station.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun to watch them like throw the ball, and then we like measure it, and we're running after them and just cheering them on, really. So
You
I
know-
love Special Olympics.
You know what's most amazing? I didn't even know that there's a student group that exists up at Anderson. Is it Anderson Middle School? The Dodea School, like up there. They're the Teens Care Society. And they were like, when they said, because Chris was the MC, and when he was leading like people like in the opening ceremony, you're like, okay, here's the Dodea School, here's Team Anderson. They had like 45 people coming there, and I talked to Kathy Duenas, a friend of mine. You know, she grew up down the street from me, and I was like, man, you guys have a huge contingent. It was all for one student, but all of these students came out. They made signs, they cheered him on. We actually got an
That's so
interview,
nice.
Sabrina and I, with Elijah. And it was incredible, and I didn't even know that student organization exists, just to support your fellow students, like to do good things and just to be positive. That is so amazing.
really nice.
Right. And I mean, on the public school side, it's really tremendous how many schools show up and how excited these kids are and how hard they work for this one day. I mean, the
Right.
parade of teams is always, it's my favorite part because, you know, I like to joke that it's actually the biggest parade on Guam, bigger than Liberation, because of the spirit and the energy that you get from not just the students, but you know, the teachers and like you said, the people who are there to support them. It's amazing.
And they've been training for a long time. So these kids, they've really been like, you know, shout out to all my friends. Like some of them we did a Trent Challenge with.
Right.
You have like Rico and Nick and all those guys. And Ratana.
Yeah.
She just has so much energy,
Right.
so it's a lot of fun. And I actually met some teachers afterwards who are like, you know, Agata Johnson, we had our biggest show. We had 22 students when last year they only had like 4 or 5. So a lot of people, you know, they're coming out, which means that there is support, right? So I think that's really exciting that people support this and want to see the kids compete in across all these different divisions.
Now that's an important point to be made because everybody thinks that this is like a school program. The young, I remember I did the interview with Frank Flores on Extra last week. The youngest Special Olympian was around like 11 or 12, so it's like middle school age. The oldest Special Olympian this year, you guys, in his 60s,
Yeah,
continues to compete.
you got a lot.
Incredibly
of
happy to do so.
So that was the weekend. Let's look forward to this week. I know Nestor's working on that port thing.
Yeah, I've got to call into Senator Nelson, who is the oversight chair. There's going to be a legislative session on Thursday, so I wanted to find out from her if, and you're talking about the Dan Tydinko nomination to the airport board, if that will be on, or she's going to try and put it on the agenda for this week's session. And as we've been reporting, and everybody else has been reporting, it's been a very contentious issue. I think we're relitigating a case that goes back 5 or 6 years, and it has nothing to do with the airport, although
Right.
that's the agency that he's nominated for. It has to do with when he was the chairman of the port board, and 7 employees were terminated for allegedly being involved in illegal workman's compensation payment.
Right.
And so Dan Tydinko was underwent a confirmation hearing. There was a lot of positive testimony, but there's also a lot of negative testimony, and most of it had to do with that particular case.
Right.
And, in particular, Senator Mary Torres testified against him. She was the general manager of the port at the time, and then just over the weekend she released a letter again, kind of responding to apparently Mr. Tydinko had submitted further testimony, written testimony to the oversight chair, Senator Nelson, and she wanted to respond to that. So we're getting a little bit of he said, she said, and
Right
a
on.
little relitigation of the case. So we'll see if his
Is it going to be close to vote for
confirmation-
Dan?
It might be, yeah, it might be. I mean, this is probably one of the most contentious confirmation
Right.
hearings I've ever come across.
Yeah, and I think they were-
typically the confirmations is just a reaffirmation of
Right.
the governor's
Yeah.
appointee, you know, and then most people will give that, trust that the governor's judgment is good, and then they'll give that person a chance. And usually, these sorts of hearings just fly by. I mean,
Right.
it's,
I mean, that's definitely, making us focus on all the other confirmation hearings a little bit more.
yeah.
And I
Speaking,
think it's going to be a big test because, everyone said Democrat legislature, Democrat Nadeau, but this could be like the first break. I mean, could be.
Speaking of interesting things going on, we got a really poignant question right now from Tomas Farron. And Chris, I believe this one's for you, man.
What is it?
Are you guys invited to the open town hall for the delegate? Well, I saw his graphic and it said all are welcome. So I guess that means us.
That means us.
We didn't get a press release on it.
Right, yeah. I mean, we're going to go and, I don't know if we're going to get kicked out or chased out, but, we're still going to go. Like, I'm going to go.
Keep the cameras rolling.
Let's see what happens.
I mean, that the town hall is very interesting to me. Is this like I don't know, maybe I don't have a lot of recent memory of different congressional representatives that we've had in the past, but is this something that we've seen before?
Usually when you have a town hall, I mean, it's held at a time when people can attend. So usually I seem to remember like weekends or evening hours, most people holding town halls. And yeah, I mean, there's that criticism. I mean, the guy, in his defense, and I'm probably the last guy to defend him, I mean, everything he does, people are always going to criticize it. So,
Right.
yeah, but I think it's a valid criticism. He waited 3 months for this office to open, and then he has a town hall on a work day during working hours, and it ends before anyone really gets off work. So, I mean, before the first town hall has even been completed, the question on a lot of people's minds is when's the next one, and is the next one going to be at a time where more people will go?
I think, there was an investiture about half an hour ago at District Court where he is formally sworn in by the local Guam District Court
Right.
judge. And then as I understand it, then they're moving to his office to, I guess, this might be the grand opening, if you will, of his congressional office.
Right. Yeah.
In Agana.
And it's interesting because there's a schedule, like a certain time frame to a certain time frame. They're talking about like war claims.
Right.
So, I mean, what if you came in? I mean, you couldn't make it at like 9:30 or whatever they're talking
And,
about.
I mean, again, to
12,
be-
will you still be able to talk about?
I'm pretty
war
sure
claims
they're not
against-
going to turn anyone. I
I
mean,
hope not.
hoping they're
Yeah.
not. Gonna turn
Is it going to be on Facebook? Because he's been very Facebook friendly, and
Right.
he's used that platform a couple times. And I'm wondering, because of the time of day, is he planning on like live streaming that?
And with the Facebook thing, I don't know if he's kind of been busy with other things, but there's a graphic that for the town hall meeting that he shared and had sponsored, and even on the graphic, you're seeing a lot of critical comments, but no one from the office has responded. I mean, usually the delegate's the first person to chime in on Facebook, as we know from the stories that we post, but there's a few people who have posted comments about, when's the next one, how do we get access to your office, where's the office, but all of these questions have gone unanswered.
And there may be some confidentiality issues. So maybe the person that's visiting with him might not want his information or her information.
Right.
Streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah, I think
I was
I think
thinking
what's
about
important
that.
what's important for the congressman, and even as former delegate Underwood said, 75 to 80% of your work is going to be constituent related work. I mean,
Mhm, right.
you're a non-voting delegate to Congress. You don't have a lot of influence in Washington, especially if you're a freshman congressman.
Right.
I mean, if you're a Juan Pat or a Madeline who had so many years, you have that seniority, and you can do some work, in the subcommittees that you're involved in.
Right.
So if constituent work is going to be, what he's going to be focused on, he needs to make sure that people know, especially non-Facebook users, because that's his primary method of communication,
Right.
that they have access to who to call, what number to call,
Right.
who to email.
Yeah.
And typically what happens is if you've got an issue, you contact the congressman's office, and then you get an appointment and explain it. And that's typically how.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's not going to be dealt with in
in a
a
town
town
hall.
hall forum.
Right.
Right.
It's going to be individual because everyone has different issues.
And I wonder how open the congressman, if he's going to be open at all to. I think a lot of the media has on their mind, what took so long to open this office, and I think those are valid questions that should be addressed before we move forward. And I mean, we're just hoping for the best.
Can I pivot for just 1 second?
Sure.
I want to plug something that we got because for the last couple of weeks, and my voice is going up, we've had our Village Vibe series. It's been incredibly well received, and we basically want to exhibit every single village on the island and tell everybody. So you guys want to hit our Instagram page. It's instagram.com/KUAM News. I think we've gotten everybody's village sitting at this table. Sabrina and I are from Jigo, so we did Jigo. Carmi from Jotnya.
Did you do Jonia already?
Did we do Jotnya already?
No.
We have not done Jotnya. I know that's
I
coming up.
didn't see it. I would have liked it. And
Ken and Ash are actually running. What's next? What's the day, you guys? Okay, Chalampago. The
Ooh.
Ordet and Chalampago combined? Okay, Ordet and Chalampago is coming up today.
Chalampago.
The
I'm actually
Manila.
from Agate though, so did you guys do Agate?
We haven't
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
Ooh.
But you know what? I mean, Village Vibe is all about you guys out there, viewers, island residents. If you used to live in a village, if you live there now, we want to hear your feedback, and we want to know from you guys directly and in first person what makes your village so very awesome. So we go out to like different stores, we look at historical places. We sat around in this very conference room for a couple hours and we tried to map all of this stuff out. But remember, your feedback is what makes this work so very well. I think the village, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, what's the village that's been done the best right now? And I think Manila had the best reaction so far, right? The most comments and the most likes.
It's up there. Manila's definitely one of them.
The drone footage we got from Manila, you guys, and Nestor, you know this because you're a golfer. We got drone footage around the Manila golf course.
It's a beautiful golf course.
There's a lot of residents from Manila who've never seen that side of the village.
Really, yeah.
I mean, the coast and the way the waves break, like just
Yeah, you
against
gotta
the
go to Pocket.
It's
The
insane.
back nine of Manila is beautiful because that's the ocean side. And then
Yeah.
there's one hole, their signature hole. I think it's 12. It's an island green that you hit to, but it's been featured in so many different golf magazines and golf videos.
Right.
So we were
It's a beautiful
flying
hole.
Pretty much famous.
right over the village, and getting awesome. I just wanted to use the Koku again. 'Cause
Also, just to add on to this before he goes crazy with his bird, at the Guam Museum, they actually have an exhibit for the mayors. All the villages are featured, so you should
So
check
cool.
that out.
Museum Minute. That's on. We've got a YouTube playlist for that right now. You can meet the people involved in the museum, and it's super awesome. Even that's getting a lot of views.
I love the Guam Museum. This is just like making my day.
Oh,
I
also,
really love hanging
since,
out there.
since we are in gratuitous self-promotion mode right now, we've also got a special series called Learn Chamorro. So if you go on, we put a new episode up on Facebook every single day. That's also, we got a YouTube playlist about that. If you want to learn Chamorro the proper way, yeah, Dr. Mike Bavacqua from UOG is teaching people. You want to learn sentence structure, conversations, stuff like that. Go check that out. It's super awesome.
And that was in
Yeah.
partnership with the University of Guam,
Yeah.
the
Nice.
Commission on
Dr.
Chamorro
Mike's did a
Language.
great job, and his delivery is very easy to understand.
Well, I mean,
very
I
good.
really enjoy
Chris,
it.
you've been in the middle of this for many, many years because you and I are the same age, right? There was a point in Chamorro when they said if you want to learn how to speak Chamorro, you either speak street Chamorro or university Chamorro.
Or
Right?
book tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right.
have the two sides, have chocolate and peanut butter finally come
No,
together?
I think language is always evolving, and right now we're at this crossroads where they're going back, and I was able to talk with Hope Cristobal about this. They're going back to these Chamorro dictionaries, pretty much from like Magellan's time, and looking at Chamorro dictionaries that like explorers or missionaries or other visitors to Guam had compiled at that time, and they're kind of reconciling a lot of the Spanish words that we use in Chamorro and trying to replace them with the indigenous. So you see what Mes Chamorro stuck in Chamorro. So
Yeah.
like we've come here and now we're almost, I want to say, de-Spanishizing
Mm-hmm.
the language.
Because I remember before, like if you would take Chamorro like in an academic setting, and they said
Right.
you try and speak that way to our Manumco,
Yeah.
you were borderline offensive
Yeah, and that
because it'd be a little bit too formal.
I don't know if we resolved that argument, but yeah, I mean the kind of Chamorro they would speak at UOG versus what they do in the South, and it's the dialects. Really.
Yeah. But the language lessons that we've been put up, notwithstanding, are very well received, and everybody's saying it's like, wow, this is super cool.
Right on.
It's really helpful, even for people who don't live on Guam, but have ties to Guam and want to learn a little bit of Chamorro. I think it's very helpful.
You know who needs Rosetta Stone? We got KUM, and our stuff's
Yeah.
free, so check it out.
And I'm always kind of shocked. Like you go to Google Translate and things like this, you won't find Chamorro there, right? In these like major platforms.
Right on.
So it's really nice to have a media outlet that's really doing that and just putting the word out.
High five.
Yeah, I love
All
it.
right.
And just real quickly, before we wrap this up, you may be wondering where Nick Delgado is. He's actually in trial, covering the Ray Tenorio.
He's in
Sorry.
trial, not on trial.
Yeah.
Right, covering the Ray Tenorio case. So
Yeah.
make sure to look forward to that
Yeah.
on prime time tonight
That was pretty interesting.
on Friday.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
It was Carl Cruz, Sergeant
Yeah.
Carl Cruz, right?
Right.
Who was first to testify, and he, of course, was the police officer in which the lieutenant governor at the time, Ray Tenorio,
You know,
grabbed the gun.
You've covered so many trials over the course of your career, and typically, I mean, you never really know how long a trial is going to take, but typically by day one or day two, you'll
Well,
get some kind of indication. They say, we think it's going to be this long. Have they indicated how long this one
Yes,
might be?
they did. They indicated that it should take about 2 to 3 days. So
Wow.
They started Friday.
I don't know. After I saw Officer Cruz's testimony, I was like, "Was this over already?" I felt like it was a mic drop.
Yeah.
So possibly today or tomorrow. Possibly.
Right.
No, definitely not today because Sergeant Cruz is still testifying, and
Mm.
so this afternoon, I believe they're gonna have some more police officers, and they're gonna have some media people. So it could be. Maybe
So media people like
I'm not sure. We'll see.
Sabina Sabrina.
Is that why you've dressed so dapper today?
No.
All right. Hey, thanks so much for watching our morning meeting and starting your day
Thanks,
the
someone's calling
KWM
me this.
way starting
That's
lineup.
it. That's it.
Tomorrow I'm gonna be at the Valley of the Laddie.
Yes, you are.
That's right for
You gotta watch that. It's gonna be
group
good.
chat. You know, we go so hard on the weekdays. I figure for group chat, I'm gonna give you guys the fluffy side.
No.
Fluffy side.
Are we actually going to take the Riverboat cruise?
I think,
Yes.
I
I
think we
love
are,
the
man.
Valley
Oh, yeah.
of the Laddie.
You gotta wear your sodito for. We're gonna do a little ceremony.
Jason.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Valley of the Laddie,
Oh,
it's
my
great. Fantastic.
Nestor. It's
Let's all go
amazing.
tomorrow. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Field trip.
Yeah.
Let's go, right?
everybody
We'll
here.
even take the bird with
Take the
us.
bird, right?
Goku.
It could be
Jason's
fun.
friend.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, guys, that's it, Panther. We got to get to work. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the KUAM News Team, this has been Morning Meeting.
Bye.
Bye, Facebook.